sorry, guys. So sorry.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay. Thank you for hanging in there.
Yeah. Okay, so now we
You wanna
have
start?
to do, something awesome so people can at least appreciate it.
All right. We'll try.
Yeah. Okay, so let's explain. Well, I guess we have to introduce ourselves, right? Um,
Go for it.
so, I, so I have Farid here. It's one of my best friends, and he's working at MPC. Beautiful concept artist. I don't know how many years he was working, but he's incredible, and he's in LA. And me, I guess, I don't know. Can you say something about me?
Yeah. So basically, we met at Technicolor art department, and then Max and I used to go have lunch every day, talk about art, philosophy, politics, get into fights about the most stupid things. But that's great about being at the studio, which we're not at the moment. But anyway, that's how I met Max, and Max has a lot of knowledge that he shared with me, and it's always been great. Like I also admire his work, so we've always had a very good dynamic. Then Max moved to Canada, and now we said, hey, let's do this together because last year we did a portfolio review at Lightbox,
Yeah,
and
and we've been
we
together as
learned
well,
everything
right?
together.
Yeah, it was awesome. Um, well, basically, what we have here, we got around 10 plus portfolios, just randomly picked from different uh, people who sent us, and we're just gonna go through one by one through the pieces. We're probably we will try to cover all of them, but we'll do our best because it's probably gonna take more than an hour.
Yeah,
We also have some questions from people who send us those portfolios, so we'll try to address that. If you guys, whoever is watching us online right now, have any questions, feel free to ask. So we will try to keep track of that and we'll try to address that as well. Yeah, let's do it. And there, I mean, obviously, since we both are in film industry, we're probably gonna be biased in terms of the way we see portfolios, but we will use our best experience to to give a best feedback, I guess. I mean, that's
cool.
that that's
Yeah,
that's the
and
intention.
just so you guys know, like if for any reason this extends too far, because I spoke to some of you online, honestly, we're trying to get as many portfolios in as possible. If for any reason we can't do it today, Max and I were thinking of maybe organizing something for the future, or we'll always be available online. So hopefully we get to yours today.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but we're doing our best. It's just the amount of portfolios we received was
mm-hmm.
incredible.
And
We're thankful.
definitely feel free to send to write us like on ArtStation, I guess, or just DP on Instagram, if for whatever questions you're gonna have or etc. Because again, like if we won't be able to cover it today, we can always get back to you guys next time, or even not within the stream, but we can just give you some feedback or something like that. And that was one of the things that I think I remember from the last light box, right? Because it was interesting experience, because people would say that they kind of like afraid or shame to to go to artists, like I don't know, I guess they can, some people might consider us as a professional artist, and they will afraid to ask something. Whereas for me, like personally, I graduated like 3 years ago from art school, and I feel like, well, if I can help other artists who just starting their career, I would do that. Like if I know like the person who need a help. So basically, if you have any questions or something like that, just feel free to to ask anything.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, well, let's go. Let's start with this guy, Sergey Karpenko. One of his questions were that he worries about his work being in the same style or having a lot of work in the same style, and if it's good or bad. And I think I will try to answer it. I think it depends on what's your plan for the future. Like if, for example, you like the style that you're working in and it's hard for you to adjust for other like different styles, then definitely you can do that and you can make a career out of it. But there are other options, like for example in film industry a lot of times you will get a lot of different clients, and some of them will ask you to make photorealistic stuff. Another one, like next week, will ask you to make something stylized or something like that. So I guess it really depends on your ability to adjust, and more than that is like if you are gonna be happy to adjust. So that's my kind of like approach to that
Yeah.
thing.
I would actually say that just like Max said, depends on what you want to achieve, because if you continue doing this, eventually there's going to be someone who says, "Oh, I want that guy because he does that style that matches my idea as a director
Mm-hmm.
or as a storyteller." And I think it seems like you're very much on your way to do that. Like the amount of work that you have that is within that style, I would almost say like it seems to be like what you love.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't, I wouldn't try to match someone else's. I would just get extremely good at it. Like I already think some of these pieces are awesome. I think I actually commented on one of your pieces a few days ago. Uh,
That's great.
no, I think I did. I did because I was like, oh, this is really cool. Um, I would just immediately I identify that at least if this is your professional portfolio, there are a lot of really old pieces that don't match your new style. Like
Mm-hmm.
you see those on the white background. They
Yeah.
they seem like the new you, the one that knows anatomy,
Mm-hmm.
design, and stuff. And then if you go back to the very dark images, they
Yeah.
make me question like, oh, does he still think that this is his best work?
Mm-hmm.
And then that makes me wonder if I should hire you or not, because there's a discrepancy there.
Yeah.
But I would say if this is what you love, keep doing that, and someone will arrive who says, "That's the style I want for my movie or my video game." I don't think it's a problem because it's a good design,
Mm-hmm.
good shapes.
You know what
What do
I
you?
would say? I would say you can approach it from the point of view of like time budget in terms of in a life scale, right? So you have only so much time in your life, and if you trying to be good at everything, like different styles, different techniques, and etc., obviously you're not gonna be the best in all of those techniques. But if you only do what you like it's your style, and I can see that you already have your style. I mean, it's pretty unique, to be honest. And if you will spend all your time in that style, you're probably gonna be the best. It's risky though, because of course there is always a risk that people won't understand your style, or they won't hire you because they don't, I don't know, like maybe because you're not fitting today into the industry or something like that,
Mhm.
but at the same time, again, like if this style of painting making you happy, then there's no point to go and try to mimic someone else, right? To get a job and be unhappy in a way. I mean, it's always a balance, but I don't know. Like it's definitely up to kind of like up to you. And
Yeah.
I think there's one more question from him, which I really like. It says something about like that he's 30 years plus old, and I would say like I'm 30 years old, and I'm not I guess the best example in this case because I've been doing art all my life. But your question is that can you like should you hide from, not hide, but should you like show to your employees or something like that your past experience, etc. And I would say definitely yes, because whatever you did in your life before art will help you in your art. Like for example, when I was a student, there was my classmates, or I think I had a classmate who was I think in medicine before she or he started to do art, and that experience definitely made her approach in art unique, because like if you did a medicine, you know a lot about anatomy and more than just regular people, and etc. And you see world a bit different. So I think whatever you did before is obviously gonna make your more unique in terms of a professional. So
Definitely.
it's definitely good. And in terms of age, yeah, I mean, the older you are, it's more risk, but at the same time, again, like if art is making you happy, that's definitely what you need to do.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, and it's easy to say, I guess, but
I would say that the moment, like, if your art is good, your age doesn't matter. Like, if your art is good, you're gonna be hireable even if you turn 60. But like, you just make sure you continue doing it.
yeah.
We've hired people from all ages, from very very young to very old. And by the way, you're super young. Okay, just
Exactly.
you're like 30, and you're like, just don't worry about that. Don't think about your age. I don't think people are like, if your portfolio is good, honestly, it doesn't matter where, how
Yeah,
you, whatever you are. Like, people want good art, and
yeah.
they want people that are easy to work with.
Yeah, I
You're
mean
easy to work.
yeah, it's not 17th century, right? When people were normally dying after 35 or something.
Yeah, no, no, no. You're good, man. You're
Yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell a story in a bit about you, Max,
Ah,
Max, about when you joined. But we should let's move to the next portfolio.
yeah,
So
yeah,
let's do the
definitely.
next one.
Okay, let's do this guy. That's from the end of the list. That's from your side.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's see. Let me open it too.
So the name of this guy is Kai Zhou. Um,
Mm-hmm.
well, I will open pieces from the latest one. I assume that's the best or whatever latest piece.
Yeah.
Well, this one looks definitely like a game portfolio or something like that.
Yeah, very much a game portfolio.
Yeah.
A lot of descriptions of like the props and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have some good work in there.
Yeah.
Good design sensitivity.
Oh well, let me say something. Well,
Go
basically,
for it.
because again, like, I don't remember, Farid. Did you graduate from any art school or something like that?
Yeah, I did industrial design.
Oh, okay. Well,
Last one.
because like since I graduated from art center, we did a lot of this kind of silhouette studies.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing: like when I was studying, I was doing a lot of those, and I always was questioning them, like in my mind, because I didn't have like right approach, I guess, to that, to that thing. And I thought like, well, if I do like, and usually we will have like a homework to make 20 or 30 silhouettes like that, and I will be like, why am I doing that? It just doesn't make sense. So the reason I'm talking about it is because like whenever nowadays, whenever I see in portfolio a page like that with like different silhouettes, I think like, well, what are you as an artist, as a concept artist, trying to do in this page? If you just exploring some random, like completely random ideas and etc., that that's like, yeah, one thing. But then if you trying to find a solution for a particular task, that kind of like another thing. And what I like now when I'm scrolling, it looks like you started like super broad, like on this page is like completely different, and then you started to narrow it down. You had this idea about white lines as a language, right? And then you goes down and you put a little bit more time into rendering, etc. So actually, I think it's a, like it's a pretty good pipeline, because you get to some pretty nice results through that.
Yeah, you get to see how he arrived at that
Yeah,
destination.
yeah, which is pretty
Yeah.
good.
Now
Um,
that being said, I like this for a portfolio piece on ArtStation.
mhm,
Just make sure that show us your process like this once, but then that's it. For the rest of your pieces, not everyone wants to see all your process. This is great for when I ask you like, so how do you work? I think I agree with Max completely. Like this looks really cool. I just don't want to see the same your process every time. Like because we also saw a lot of portfolios where we saw tons of sketching
mhm.
and only 4 final images. So I think this is great. Just know that people don't always have the time to, for example, go through all these portfolios and tons of process. So it's just something to keep in mind.
What I also think is that there is a kind of like a difference between showing your process in terms of like you do that in school, like I did these sketches and I get to this and blah blah, and showing how your brain is working. Basically showing not the process but the flow of ideas. And I think that's what you should do for every work. Like for example, on this page, I kind of like, well, I mean, it's less of a concept art. It's more like an illustration, right? But like if we would consider this page, I mean this project as a process, so it looks like this is like a line drawing for this color version of the same line drawing. Well, I mean, because your line drawing is so beautiful, I think it's good to show it. But as Farid said, like not all the time, because well, unless you want to sell yourself as a person who can make this kind of line drawing, for whatever reasons, for like maybe book covers or something like that, or illustrations.
Yeah. No, overall, I think it's. Can you go to the very first project? Go to the
This
left one.
one.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So I think that one has a wide range of. What I like about this one is that he built a universe,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to see each one of the. There's a plan and there's a reason why this piece exists,
Yeah.
and I think that's something that we always told students is like why does this portfolio piece needs to exist,
Mm-hmm.
and this one tells me is like, oh, you design and you can send this to people who model it, who rig it. Uh, Basically, this can be sent to the rest of the pipeline, and they would understand it. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's cool how you went through this process.
Yeah, what's interesting for me is that you have such a wide range of skills. Like for example, those one 3D, right? So you obviously know how to use ZBrush. This one more like illustration, stylized, like kind of like almost like a pencil, whatever drawing or something like that, right? That could be book illustration or something like that. This one is more like concept for a game. So I think if one if I will have to pick one feedback that I have to tell you, I will, like, personally I would say maybe it's a time to figure out what you love to do the most and spend more time on that. Because
Yeah.
for example, right now those 3D pieces, they look good but not the best, I would say. And like, do you really want to sell yourself as a, I mean, it's good to have one project with 3D stuff like that will show that you can that program, but you have like so many projects on your ArtStation with those like kind of raw ZBrush models, and like it's kind of hard for me to understand, like, are you like 3D guy, or are you concept artist, or are you illustrator? Basically, that's the biggest question.
I would say, yeah, like make it as simple for whoever is looking at your portfolio to know oh, this guy does this and he's the best at this, or these are his top skills. Make
Mm-hmm.
it easy for us, because I agree. I think at the moment it's like we're not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I would say the other comment, just to finalize, I see a lot of your reference, or the things that are you're pointing at are things that are already have already been designed, and that would be a bit of a no-no. Like you want to reference nature, you want to reference things that are not other designs already. So in that very first project, if you can go back to
Mm-hmm.
it, Max, like when you're pointing at things, I see things from other designs, from other designers, basically. So even if it's not the same thing, it makes me feel like, oh, did you grab that from another game? And so as someone who's hiring, that would make them nervous. So just make sure that whatever reference you're using is actually either from real life, like if you're gonna put an oxygen tank, make sure
Mm-hmm.
it's from a firefighter, or from like try not to use it, even if it's just for materiality. Make sure that it's not from other characters or things that have already been
Yeah.
designed, because that's gonna scare people
Yeah.
away from
Or
your
or
performance.
you can add a credit. Basically, like for example, on this page, you have some references from other, I guess, concept arts or something like that. If you will add like a small line like, hey, this art were produced by this guy or company or from this movie, it will be like, at least you have credit, so you acknowledge that this was made by someone else, and you use that as an inspiration, but only as an inspiration, not trying to kind of like steal it.
Hmm.
Just to make sure that people who gonna watch look over your portfolio, they're gonna understand your intentions. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
All right,
good.
let's move to the next one.
Yep, yep,
8:30
yep. Okay, so let's start on my side.
from your side.
Yeah, okay. So we have Vlad, and actually, he asked me a pretty good question. He said there are many books on anatomy and stuff like that, but there are not too many books on environments. And can we recommend or advise something? I think because environment by itself is a very broad topic, because it includes interiors, exteriors, which is architecture basically. So if you need architectural references, you need to find books on architecture. And architecture, again, by itself is such a broad thing, because you can go into historical architecture, right? Like from ancient Greece or something like that. You can go to more modern architecture styles and etc. And then it also includes, like, for example, light. Like if we're talking about architecture, how light is working with architecture, because like designing a light on architecture is another kind of like an industry, right? Um, Also, it's about nature, and nature, obviously the best book on nature is just going outside and learning from mother nature. But again, like, it depends on what you mean by environment. So I think it's just such a broad topic that it's hard to really address that question. But in terms of, like, if you asking about composition, for example, I would say that something like framed ink and books like that are
Yeah.
must have, because they are like, because that's the best books on composition, for example, to my taste.
Yeah, I like one called Rapid Vis, like for rapid
Mm-hmm.
visualization,
Mm-hmm.
and that one, it goes all the way from perspective to rendering with pen,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that one's gonna help you to do kind of the structural part of the environment, and then from there you can move on to what Max mentioned, or you can go all the way to books like the ones from Richard Schmidt,
Mm-hmm.
who will teach you about painting it, right? So
Yeah.
it's broad. It's broad.
Yeah.
Max, could you go to the very first one?
Mm-hmm.
Because I already have a comment.
Okay.
Like, go down a little bit. So, see, I think you lost something, Vlad. you have really cool line drawing and gesture in those drawings, in the sketches. And I wonder if for your portfolio, it wouldn't be good to just have a lot of options like this. I think your draftsmanship when it comes to line is cool, and we would understand the options if we were hiring. Um, and then you could present maybe a couple of rendered ones, but I would push to have more of these line ones. I think that's a strength that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to work a bit more on your rendering, mainly because you are showing us too much. Like your rendering, you basically render every corner of the drawing, and now it looks kind of it lost that magic that your drawing had. And I noticed that in a couple of your pieces. It'd be cool if you can maybe hide things in the shadow, those principles of 70-30, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you only show 30, you hide 70%, but it looks like everything's showing.
Mm-hmm.
Those are like things that you learn from the classical painters and things like that. But push your portfolio towards line. You seem to be doing good there.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know for sure, but it looks like he enjoyed it more. Because, like, you can see it. Like, this line drawing, they're like there is magic in there. Like, you can feel the energy and stuff like that. Which is pretty good. And
And in the
again,
next,
it
oh, go
depends
for it.
on what kind of client you have, because some clients would not understand line drawing, another one will, but you know, I guess it's beautiful.
Yeah. And then for this one, the one we're looking at, I
Mm-hmm.
would say try to give us more, because I already went through your portfolio. Try to give us different faces. Right now, we're working like a more general face. So maybe for her, she could have, a larger nose, or like just something that doesn't look so anatomically correct, if that makes any sense. Something with a bit more personality, maybe an expression.
Yeah, I
I can
think.
tell she's not super happy, but I'm not 100% sure of what you were trying to tell me.
Mm-hmm. I think what you're trying to say is give her a character. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I'm looking at her face right now, and I mean, yeah, she's good. I mean, the painting is good, but at the same time, I don't see the history in her face. Like, I don't see, like, if she has, like, I don't know, 4 kids, and it's like somewhere up north in Middle Ages, and she's like happy, but she's tired, or if she's worried about those kids, and that's why her face is like muscles. I mean, on her face, kind of like, more developed, because she was worrying for them, like, for a long time or something like that. Those kind of details will make it more unique in a way. Like, it will look like people will remember basically her face. Because right now it's I mean, it's good. It's just, I think, yeah, I definitely agree. It's like, if you will add a little bit more of character in there, it's gonna be better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Max, if you go through the work, because I
Uh
already
huh.
went through
Yeah,
everything
yeah, yeah.
quickly, you'll see that the same story happens where the pencil, I mean, the line drawing is very beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rendered one, like, loses that magic. So just, I would say that's the biggest takeaway is like, use that to your strength. People don't mind sometimes, especially in video games where
Mm-hmm.
it's about building the character. You can get away with a lot of line drawing
Yeah.
while hone your skills. I know you're building up to becoming a better renderer, so I'm not saying stop doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, use this to your advantage. People would really enjoy this line drawing. I know I do. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And in terms of rendering, couple words, I think you kind of, like, most of your, maybe it's just a style, right? But I think what you lacking, because, like, all of the materials looks not real to me, like almost like it's some kind of 3D software or something like that. And one of the things that can help you, I think, to upgrade that skill is to try to do studies from real life. Basically, just put something like an metallic part or something like that on your table next to your computer and try to do a study from that, from life. I think you will learn a lot, because right now all the materials there, like I mean I can recognize like metal and wood and other, but there is like small things that if you just fix it a little bit, it will look so much better. And the only way you can learn it is by doing, real world studies. I mean, real life studies.
Cool. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, let's go to the next
Good
one.
work. All of you guys, you have cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's like, it's incredible how much time you, like, I can see like this piece is like, it's a lot of dedication to that piece. Yeah.
So now we can. Oh, I think the next one is what is it?
Lorenzo. Yeah, correct. Yeah. Lorenzo. Yeah, that's more like concept arting. Or so they say so.
Lorenzo DeSantis.
Yeah, DeSantis. So, what you got to say?
Yeah, well, I like that this one is very focused. Like, I immediately start to see the fact that he wants to go into film. Like more like realistic kind of scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that there's a sense of direction. Like, it's clear to me. But I think I think you need to go deeper into storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
And cinematography studies.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to let's see. Let's look at it together.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely like this piece is pretty nice, and this one is an example of showing the process but not thinking process. Like for example, I can see how you did this piece, and then you added a little bit of color, and then you started to render. But for me, it's more important how you think instead of how you painted it, because I understand that first you did a black and white version, right, and then you started to colorize it. So I don't need to look at that. But if you will show different options, like different camera view, different lighting, and etc., that will be more interesting, because I will be able to see like, oh, so you had these three options and then you decided to go with this one, for example. I think that is what more important for us to see in your portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Can you go to the very first piece, the one with the spaceship?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, for example, this one is a little bit. I don't understand the reason for this. Okay, so one of our philosophies is like each image has a reason for it to exist. Like why is this image? Why do we need this image for the entire pipeline?
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I am not 100% sure of what is happening here. Like I see an asteroid, and then I see a spaceship, but I don't necessarily see a connection. So I'm thinking, okay, this image is not solving a story point. Mm-hmm. Then I'm looking at the lighting, and I see a discrepancy, because we know that in space, light doesn't look like that. And it's interesting because in your black and white studies,
mm-hmm.
it's more realistic. Like I see you understand the space part. So if it's not solving lighting and the story point, I wonder why this image has to exist. And here's another interesting thing. You have 100% of an image, and almost 50% of it is being covered by the asteroid. But most of that asteroid, I wouldn't be able to build it if I was a modeler. Like I wouldn't know how to continue to pass it along. So make sure that whenever you create an image, you divide it in percentages, and you realize, okay, the largest area have to be either hidden or fully explained. Or like because in this particular piece, the spaceship, the most explained part is so tiny,
Mm-hmm.
and then it loses impact in the image. I wonder if you can add to what I'm saying, Max, because I want
Mm-hmm.
to make sure I'm making sense in this.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense to me. I think I think just to continue your kind of like conversation, um, like for example, these sketches for the spaceship, it looks to me that they're just random ideas. You know, like it doesn't look like you had like I don't see the flow of the idea. You know, for example, if this spaceship is made to explore asteroids, right, in space. So how how's that doing that? You know, maybe there are some kind of sensors or some kind of like robotic arms or stuff like that. And if you would explore it in in different sketches, showing like what is that made for, then we will understand and we will be able to follow that kind of like story of your developing this concept. And right now it looks to me that you've been basically just randomly going through different ideas, which sometimes is a good thing. Like if you just brainstorming and you're like, oh, what if it's just like a spaceship like that looks like brick, for example, or if it's a spaceship that looks like something else, or like airplane or something like that. But at some point, it's good to figure out the idea behind it and then start to dig into that more. Um, so that will definitely help.
Can you go to that one with a ship, like a cargo ship in
Is it a different piece or within the
yeah,
same?
different piece? Oh, it's like the number 8, I think.
Okay.
That one.
This one? Okay.
Yeah, because actually this one kind of it kind of does what I was telling you. Like you covered most of the image in darkness, which is the majority of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine, but the area that you are showing us is the area of interest, right? That 30 or
Mm-hmm.
20%, that something amazing has to be happening there.
Yeah.
And I am not 100% sure of what amazing thing is. I know, I'm guessing it's a pirate or something, but like that's where you have to showcase all your design skills. And then the rest you can leave a bit more loose for this
Mm-hmm.
type of images, which are more
Mm-hmm.
like pitch kind of concept art,
Yeah.
like the type of concept art that is about a moment in the story.
Yeah.
Make sure that that area of interest is brutally amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest you can do what you did here, which I hope you can do in the one with the asteroid, where you can
Yeah.
hide a bit more, give us more mystery. You don't have to show us absolutely everything. The
Yeah.
less you show, the more mysterious, the more people want
Yeah.
from the image.
Yeah. I also think it depends on who you are as an artist, and maybe you don't know yet, but it's a great mystery to explore. And what I mean by that is that, for example, in this piece, Farid was mostly talking about story point, or basically trying to approach this piece from the point of view of concept art, like trying to make it more unique in terms of story or design or whatever it is, right? But there are so many other ways you can approach it. For example, if this piece is just an illustration, then I mean, it's always good to have a good story in the illustration, but you can also just go completely full on into rendering. And yeah, story wise there's nothing, but if it's gonna be rendered beautifully, it's gonna be like a beautiful illustration that could be in a book, end up being used in some kind of National Geographic journal or something like that. And both of us, me and Farid, are concept artists, so of course we're gonna go into concept realms and try to approach it from that point of view. But what I'm trying to say is that that's not the only thing, so if you personally like to render stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what I think. Like if you just want to explore beautiful compositions and etc., like this piece, for example, I mean, it looks to me like that it's kind of crazy Salvador Dali piece, and if you will render it a little bit more, it's gonna be just beautiful illustration, you know. So it really depends on who you are and what you want to do for, you know, for living in a way.
Just to finish this one, if you can go to the Lord of the Rings 2020 calendar,
And
uh,
where?
see, it's a dragon.
Dragon,
And
dragon, dragon, dragon.
mm,
Oh yeah, I see.
that, can you go down?
Where?
Oh, in that same piece, if you go
Yeah.
down, it's interesting because we have a similar thing that happened in the previous portfolio. Like, there's really cool stuff here, man. Like the black and white.
Yeah.
They're really nice. I like them. So try to do. I mean, personally, if you wanted to join a company like MPC or ILM and stuff, I'm sure they would see value in this, and I think you already understand this quite well. So don't shy away from this type of work. I think you're good at it.
Yeah. Definitely agree. I mean, I definitely like this one, and I can see how you know, how your imagination is working in this one. Like different camera position, like for example, this piece in particular. No, I cannot open it, but like I'm talking about this one. It's beautiful, right? The sun behind the dragon.
Yeah,
I can see the transparency in his wings, and it's wow. That's like nice.
Yeah.
It could be like in Game of Thrones or something like that. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Let's go. Yeah, let's go to my side, I guess. Okay, what we got here? It's I'm sorry. I guess I'm gonna butcher the name. It's Joe De Brito. I hope I pronounce it correctly.
Wow. I think it's Joao.
Or I cannot I cannot pronounce. I'm sorry. Yeah, and this one looks to me like a game portfolio as well. And I'm sorry for labeling it. It's just because of, you know, the nature of the piece itself, and it doesn't mean anything, to be honest. Like game portfolio, like what do you mean by that? It's so stupid. I like it. It's beautiful. It's so good. Like this one as a prop, it's nice. So one of the questions from him was, what do you recommend regarding health habits for artists? And
health habits?
Yeah, you know, like how to stay healthy.
That's the hardest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like
I screwed my arm. Like I have tendonitis from being an artist.
So basically, it's we are wrong person to ask. Yeah, because like I'm wearing glasses right now. Well, I would say, you know, maybe just work out, but it's so simple to say work out.
You know what I found out at the studio? Honestly, just taking breaks, like stopping and changing, like have two setups in your station, and that's what's helped me the most. What was recommended to me. So you have like position A for half of the day and position B for the other half of the day, or have one position for 1 hour, and every hour try to stand up, walk around, even if it's in your house, and then come back to the seats and continue. But like honestly, I think breaks and switching positions so that your body is not in the same one for all that time. I wish I'd known this before.
I think another thing is like maybe having a hobby that is completely different from art, and something that from the physical point of view is different. Like for example, if you're sitting the whole day making paintings, then maybe you can pick a hobby that will be running around, or I don't know, what is that, bouldering, right? When you climbing on walls and stuff like that. So that's kind of like physical activity. It's interesting, and you know, and that way you will not force yourself into doing that because it's your hobby, and you know. But yeah, it's a tough question. Well, going back to portfolio, honestly, it's pretty good. like there is almost nothing for me to say. I would say just maybe if something I would like. I noticed that you have a lot of cool props. Like for example, this bot, like this project. It's a nice piece by itself, but I am wondering how this piece will look in a bigger image. Like for example, if you have a story moment, like when some kind of character that exists in the same world is doing something, trying to escape some pirates or something like that. So maybe doing that will uh, basically will make like will expand your portfolio. Um, I also noticed a lot of like you have a lot of cool props. Like this one is from completely different world. But again, I almost have this feeling when you're showing me a small piece that I like, and I want to see more. Like I want to see something around it where it can exist and can be used. And I mean, I don't know. It's just as an idea for your future project or something like that, because that will be awesome. Like to see couple pieces like that all connected. That will also tell me that you can that your design is not just some lucky result of some random ideas, but you can actually design for for the world, which is and be consistent, which is important.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, because I mean, you can tell he has a skill to multiple. You know what I would like to see now
mm-hmm,
that as I was speaking, each one of these pieces kind of has its own discipline. It's like one of them is like 2D rendering, the other one's 3D rendering, one is line drawing, and I would like to see maybe one project that has all of your skills shown in that project. I think that would be cool. I'm not
mm-hmm,
saying it's necessary, okay?
yeah,
It's more like because I'm looking at the if you go to that gray, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it looks cool.
mm-hmm.
Left, that one. Yeah.
This one.
Like that seems like line drawing and I'm like, man, I love this. Like now I wonder if this same spaceship can be rendered in the style of the crash site.
Mm-hmm,
It's another portfolio piece.
mm-hmm,
Um, just to kind of show how you would work in the studio, right? Like you would start with line, and then as the director approves certain things, then you would move into an 3D modeling, and then once that gets approved, then you say, I'm going to create that final
mm-hmm,
crash site
yeah,
image.
yeah,
And I think that would be a really cool addition to your portfolio
yeah,
because overall, I can tell that you have,
yeah,
a broad range of skills.
yeah. No, same, yeah. And also looking at these pieces, I can see that you can do 3D, so you can render the piece. Same with this one. Like I can see that you have skills, so you can photobash on top of your 3D. I guess it was made in 3D. Yeah, and yeah, it's good. So honestly, for me, same. Like next step would be try to make a bigger kind of like image for like bigger picture for the project that you have in mind, and I think it will have more success, to be honest, like on ArtStation or anywhere, because people will be like, oh, that's the guy who made this whole world, in a way, instead of like, this is the guy who made this bot for I don't know what, but it's so good. I like it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This one. It's Naysv Sales.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm opening it.
Well, let me start. I think
Or-
I think I really like your environments. Like this one is pretty good. I mean, you definitely need to like make more pieces basically like that. So like every new piece will be better than the one before. Um, what I like, I don't know if that's true, but it looks to me like this one was made like before this one, and then you made this one, and then you made this one. And if that's true, I can see the progress. Like I can see how this one is less like developed in terms of rendering, etc., compared to this one. So honestly, at this stage, I would say just keep going. Like if you have some problems with rendering, just keep rendering, and slowly you will get there. If you will feel that you want to explore more of the design part, do that as well. Because I can see that right now it's kind of like futuristic, almost like Blade Runner kind of, vibe in here, and it feels in this piece as well. So just don't stop. I think that's the thing I will say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say at the moment, I would say the stage at which you're rendering and finishing the design is something that you would show internally in the studio. Like, hey, I'm thinking of this. And this is kind of the level of rendering, sketching that we would have inside of the studio. This doesn't go anywhere. So now I would like to see you push further on everything, pushing your design, pushing your rendering, pushing on story. It's like if we had different levels of the finishing levels before we show to a director, I think you're at 50% there. So I like the fact that you're sharing these ideas, but you definitely need to put a bit more time, a bit more studying into a couple of areas for this to be able to be shipped out. So I don't know. I really like the fact that I understand where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was your art director, I'd be like, oh yeah, I like option B. Go with it and finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would say keep pushing in all of them.
Yeah.
Until the idea is very, very, very clear for everyone.
Yeah. I think strategy wise, I would say I'm not sure if that's like 100%, but that's my approach. I would say push one piece to the limit, like literally spend like weeks on it, like maybe a month. Like for example, you can take this piece that I'm looking at right now and render it for a month. Like try to do your best. And yes, normally in real world like industry environment, you will never have a month to finish a piece, but I'm pretty sure you will learn a lot. You will see that some things are working for you and you can solve them faster, and some other things will be like problematic and you're probably gonna spend a week trying to solve it. The point of this thing is that you basically are not you're not stopping, you're just like working as much as possible, and then for the next project you can push yourself to work faster. So the idea is that for the first project you trying to work on quality as much as possible, and then you work on speed, because you can only increase speed if your quality is on a level. There is no I mean I don't well I think it's a right approach. You can try it at least, and I'm not saying anything against like speed paintings and stuff like that, but there is a value in trying to render a piece even though it takes a lot of time, like if it takes weeks or something like that for you. And because like the reason I'm saying that, because I'm looking at this piece and it looks to me that you spend some time on it, but definitely not a week. And maybe if you will spend a week on it, it's gonna be over rendered. You're gonna start adding textures and stuff like that, and every single inch of this image is gonna be overworked. But you can solve that problem later. But I think you will learn from that process as well. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Try it.
Keep pushing.
Yep.
and this is for everyone, guys. I know it's
Yeah.
hard, and sometimes this advice. I'm sure you've heard these things 1,000 times, and it's like, you just need to get better and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I would say right now, if you're a student, if you're starting out, you have the benefit of time. Put the time. Don't think too much about like, oh, I need to finish this right now. Finish it to the point where you're really satisfied with it, and then the speed you'll gain at work. I cannot tell you how many pieces took me months to finish. I would tell you in 3 months. And then when I arrived at MPC, that's where they taught me, oh, here are the tricks to finish in 3 days. So it's crazy, but the speed you'll gain later. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, put the time until you're very satisfied, because we'll notice if you're satisfied or not.
Yeah. And honestly, there are no tricks. Honestly, it's more like they just tell you like, hey, we need it tomorrow. And you're like, oh, usually I spend like months on it and now it's tomorrow. And you just like, okay, I guess I have to cheat. And you just start to remember all the cheating method that you never used in your personal projects because you thought like, oh, it's not real art and stuff like that. But when it's a working environment and you need it tomorrow, you're like, okay, I'm just gonna use everything like photos, 3D, whatever, right? So, but again, in order to get that knowledge, you need to work on pieces long enough so you know how to do that, and then you can think about how to make it faster in a way. Okay, let's get to this guy. That Miguel. I think I have a question from Miguel as well, which is, oh, yeah, pretty awesome question. And I know you guys send me more than one question, and I would, because like we already been doing it for an hour, so I'm trying to pick the best one. Yeah. So the question I like from Miguel is what it takes, or what kind of skills are more important to become a concept artist for VFX company. And Farid, do you have anything to answer on that one?
Well, if it's for if it's for a VFX company, it's definitely a broad range, because a VFX company, what they do is different studios come to us for all their VFX needs, basically. And so you'll be working with Fox, you'll be working with Universal, Warner Brothers, Disney. They all have different needs and different movies, different styles. So as a VFX, if you're gonna work for ILM, for Weta, for Technicolor art department, DNEG, for one of those art departments, it's definitely a broad range. You need to be able to switch from a fairy to an orc to sci-fi, and I cannot tell you the amount of things that I'm working on. So definitely a broad range, and having the skills to match your style to what the director wants. Yeah, definitely.
I think the one thing in common among all of those is to be fast. So, or if I will reiterate it, to be how to say it, efficient. Basically, that's another word. So, like, if you have a task to design cities that was destroyed by whatever, like Godzilla or something like that, and you need it today. So it's not enough to work fast, because there's no way, like, whatever your speed, you're not going to be able to do that in one day, right? But if you are efficient, if you can figure out the good strategy to approach that task, you will be able to do that. And having that ability in your mind, like knowing your best skills, like if you're good in 3D, so you can use that to make it faster. If you're good in whatever Photobash, and knowing that stuff about yourself will help a lot, and practicing it as well, because again, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but whenever I'm working on my personal projects, it's nightmare. Like, I'm spending months on projects, and then I'm like, why? Like, how is that happening, right? Because like when you're working on something and for the client, you like, tomorrow, okay, it's done. Like tomorrow you post it somewhere and it's ready. But personal projects, for some reason, not working that way. So finding a way to force yourself in a way into this setup. Like you have to finish a thing tomorrow, and figuring out how to do that is a pretty important, I think.
Mm-hmm. Miguel, I'm looking at all your pieces, and I love your sense of composition, design, lighting. I think in terms of framing, a lot of your pieces seem like pitch concept art, like the initial stages of a production, either for video games. So like your scene would be very much used to inspire the rest of the pipeline. And I love that. I honestly, you have really good pieces, composition, palette, even your knowledge of camera lenses, which is rare. See, not everything's in like a flat state. Like you can see that there's camera work in there, and I like that. If I had one comment to give you, is that I would like to see more design. Like I see this composition and it's amazing, but then where are we at? So for example, in this, can you go to forward in the project?
Which one?
There's one of the third one, I believe.
Okay, this one?
Yeah. So like I want to see, like something that I couldn't find anywhere else. Like what is, I know this person is isolated, the composition is cool, the mood, but you have all of these empty walls, and I'm like, that graffiti, I know you can push it. I know you can do more than that. And I feel the same in all of your pieces. I'm like, if you give me one more layer of detail or of story, of design, of like silhouettes that are a bit more crazy, that maybe you pull something out of your childhood, out of your history, your story, to populate in every one of your frames, I think that would sell it for me, because in terms of skills, man, you're ready. Like I think it's just that one layer of design in your pieces that I'd like to see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, same like kind of like with this robot, right? Because like it looks like we saw so many robots like that already. And it's funny because like now I'm criticizing this robot, and I know that there probably gonna be a new movie this year or next year with this kind of robot, and my critique is gonna be the same to the movie as well. I will be like, well, I saw this robot already like, I don't know, 10 years ago in Elysium or something like that, right? So if you will at least try to make something unique, we will notice it. We will definitely notice it because, normally you see that kind of stuff. So think about it. Like, how can you make it? And again, like if the piece is not about robot but about story moment, okay, make it about story, but make it unique. Like just push it all the way. Which is hard, and yeah, but like your portfolio on this level where that's what you have to do to make it even better. Yeah.
All right. From the list, Max, can you grab instead of from the bottom? Go to my number. Go to like to the top of my list instead of from the bottom.
Okay. Let's try it. I think this guy, right? Leanne?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, go through it. Loading. Okay, yeah. She was saying that she's from Scotland.
Okay.
And she's trying to, I think she's trying to figure out where she fits best. Trying to find the industry. And overall, I think she's pretty open to different opportunities. But I was wondering if we could help her out to point in a direction.
Yeah.
If you see something where she would fit, her art would fit best.
Yeah. Honestly, I think future animation or any animation movies, like I think Netflix is doing a lot of animation right now and etc. So that direction. I mean, maybe not big companies because it's hard to get into Netflix and other, like Disney or something like that. But I can definitely see how this piece could be like a key scene for animated feature film or like a short feature film. I mean, short animation film or something like that. Because like I can see the story here. So if you can make a couple more images, not as rendered as this one, but more like almost like a storyboarding, like the story behind these two puppies, that will be awesome. Because then it's not going to be only just like an illustration. It's going to be like, oh, there was a story and I can see that through that, storyboarding. And now I can see one keyframe that is very well rendered and, and explains the visual qualities of that story, etc., of that design. Similar kind of to this piece. Again, it's like couple dinosaurs and they are like stylized already, so I can see how like I can imagine the movie about them. So so why not for you to design it? And I mean, it could potentially could be a beautiful portfolio piece, but bigger piece in terms of like the whole, like you designing the whole thing. Yeah, and then you just need to find those kind of studios.
Yeah, I think that currently I see a lot of illustration and things that could already be part of like editorial and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just by expanding on these universes that you are creating, like you're giving us these different universes, and you're giving me just a taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you were to go into film or animation TV, I think I would like to see like the next, like how these things are built, like a bit more of each one of these universes, like the design of these. I love the dragon, by the way. There's the Mogobu monster, I believe. It's down left.
Ah, okay. Swamp or
No.
next
At the
one?
very bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That one. Yeah, I like. I think it's a cool design. Like,
Yeah.
I can see this going through the pipeline and becoming a creature that we would see in a movie. But I would like to see more of it. It's not like this individual piece that feels more like illustration, which is okay if that's the route you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was to be a visual development portfolio, then I would like to see maybe a couple of drawings of how this dragon eats, how he sleeps, or like I want to see more of the personality of him.
Yeah. And just like one more thing. Again, both of us are in film industry, so we kind of like, our mindset is in that realms. It doesn't mean that you have to be in film industry. And honestly, there is nothing special about it. It's not like, you get into film industry and you are in some magic world. I would say actually it could be an opposite. What I'm trying to say is that, for example, this piece looks to me like it's a beautiful illustration for a book. So maybe if you enjoy that kind of stuff, you can make illustrations for like children's book or something like that. And why not? Because that's a beautiful piece. I'm not saying that it couldn't be a concept for animated film, but what I'm saying is that there are so many possibilities that you can do that it's I think it's actually overwhelming, right? Because when you have so many options, you don't really know where to go in a way. Yeah. But definitely I can see that you like stylization, so it's either stylized animation or it is book illustration or something like that, because because of those cute creatures or Uh,
The unicorn is also pretty cool. I think she's doing what I was asking her to do on the
yeah.
unicorn, like exploration, like
Mm-hmm.
uh, yeah. I think you can, if you were to do visual development,
Yeah.
more of these explorations are kind of what are needed. And I would just add to make sure you add more character to the faces, to the expressions,
Mm-hmm.
like to make sure we understand uh, a bit more of
Yeah, yeah. I honestly like this piece. It's beautiful.
yeah.
And again, it could be both. It could be a piece for a book, right? So it could be a character in a book, and it can appear in different like story moments, right? And you can make illustrations for that. Or it could be a character for a movie. Uh, and both actually, like, animated and something like Fantastic Beasts or whatever that movie was, right? Because I can see how you can transform this design that I'm looking at right now into something beautiful VFXy, kind of like, like future film rendering, like final result. It's because it's like it's
Yeah,
already has this magical kind of qualities in it,
yeah.
and it's beautiful. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, it depends on what you want to do.
I think you spoke about something very truth, Max, about it's not all for film, it's not all for video games.
Yeah.
Definitely, and the fact that you're not shying away from what you love,
Mm-hmm.
you can tell. You can tell. I love the book cover for
Yeah.
Dynasties of
Mm-hmm.
Britain. It looks so cool. Like I love it.
And
So
one more thing, um, I like how, like, I see your personality in this piece, honestly. Like,
sure.
because like a lot of times you will go to ArtStation, for example, and you see just, I don't want to be rude, but you see similar kind of style because everyone's using same techniques. Like they will use, like whatever it is right now, 3D program, some Blender or something like that, and they will use same rendering and they will get to the same result. Whereas this one completely different. I don't even know what you use. It looks like you used actual pencils, and that that's pretty good. There
Yeah.
is something in it. And what I'm trying to say is that try to keep it, try, because it's easy to go again on ArtStation, see some beautifully rendered piece and think like, oh, my pencils are never gonna be the same, so I mean same as this image, right? And like I have to go and learn 3D or something like that. Not really, because you can achieve something unique using whatever technique that you're using right now. um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's again,
It's
it's all risky because, well, because it's always a risk, because it's like you never know, like if your art is gonna be in
I,
in.
I truly believe that if you continue doing what you love and you stick to it,
Mm-hmm.
someone will relate to it and will hire you for what you love doing.
Yeah.
And it's when we do middle ground, like half ArtStation, half what I like, and then the middle is not very attractive,
Yeah,
right?
because it's not
So
unique, because you don't feel the soul in that work. It's just like,
yeah,
yeah. I think it's especially right now when it's like all gumroads and stuff like that. So you can watch gumroad and you just use that technique exactly, and you get to that same result, which is good because now you have this ability, you have this skill. But at the same time, it's not good because that's not you. You're just using, like someone else's machine in a way. Not someone else's, but like it's become generic in a way. So it's good to have your
cool.
voice. Yeah. Uh, so again, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's it's solid. I'm so sorry. Um, um, well, do I have a question from this guy? Let me check it out. Uh, yeah, I actually do. Um, so one of the question from him was, what is your advice on not giving up too early on the personal projects and make sure you follow the project all the way through? Whoa. Usually I have other problem, honestly.
If
Like,
you find the answer to that, let us know. Honestly, personal work, you can ask any professional artist. That we tend to struggle because, yeah, it's your own demons, right? Where it's like otherwise you're dealing with the director's problems. It's different. You can detach yourself from those briefs. But when it's your personal project, we run into the same issues and we talk about it, and it's like philosophy.
yeah,
I don't know if I have an answer for that. I would
yeah,
say, I mean, the way we do it is like we let it rest and push through and push through and push through,
yeah.
and we open it again a month later, and maybe we see something, and then at some point the answer comes,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gets solved. And but we have that struggle. I mean, Max and I have gone through this so many times,
Mm-hmm.
so it's just part of being an artist, I think, and it's
Yeah.
a yeah.
I think, and honestly, like looking at your work, it looks like you're spending a lot of time making those pieces. It's beautiful. Um, Let me remember, because like I think I had a comment. Oh, yeah, for this piece I had a comment because I checked the portfolio earlier today. What I like about it is this shot, turn around, right? They call it turn around for this one. It looks beautiful. Looks like you put some, design into that. It looks unique enough. I would love to see this composition being about this piece, this whatever character or this device. Because right now, compositionally, this piece, I don't really understand what's happening. Like I can see hand, I can see some other device, and I can see those small robots, but they are like in shadow, and I don't really understand what's going on. So it's like you have this beautiful design, but then it's hidden because I don't really see it on this shot. So
True.
I would say, and you have it on this close up. It's almost like you've been working on a close up, but it's a common problem because a lot of times you will have so many ideas for one, illustration that you start to put all of those ideas in one piece, and then you ended up having not the best composition, I would say, because there are so much things happening in a piece. So I would say close up like that. I will pick the close up like that and will relight it a little bit, adding more light specifically on those robots, and it will be, I think, so much better because this piece is specifically about those small robots and this whatever device it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you want to see the world from the eyes of the ant.
Yeah.
Like you want the camera to be almost like fisheye or something. Like
Mm-hmm.
so think of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this is your professional portfolio, but if it was your professional portfolio, I would encourage you not to put fan art. I would try to. I know this is an experiment. I can tell you're just having fun,
Mm-hmm.
but usually fan art, if you show it to at least my art director and stuff, they would feel a bit uneasy with it because it makes us feel like that's the one thing that you want to do, and we're wondering like, oh, like can we put you to do something else? Like, can you do Star Trek instead of Star Wars, kind of thing, so just keep that in mind. And I know a lot of people have different opinions about this.
Mm-hmm.
But
What I
it's
also
something.
notice is that you don't have sketches, at least in the portfolio. And honestly, I would love to see more, like this one at the very bottom. It's beautiful. Like, and I would love to see more of those explorations, because like yeah, I can see that you can build it in 3D, and obviously if it's 3D, you can move the camera around and you can put the different light and stuff like that. But this is where your thinking is happening in this drawing. So
Mhm.
if you would put more of that for other projects, like for example for this one, it will be so much better. Or if you don't have it, so try to do that for your future projects, because otherwise, and again, I mean, I guess it depends, because I know there are artists who are working strictly in 3D, and that's how they design stuff, right? So they don't use pencils, or they don't go into Photoshop or something like that. I think you can do that, but still, it will be nice to see some process pieces. And again, process in terms of how you think, how you get to that idea, that will help a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have really nice color palettes. I personally love, this one, the junkyard, I believe is
Yeah.
the really cool palette, repetition, really big of space value. So that's really cool. I think it's a pattern, no, Max, that we've seen throughout these portfolios, people shying away from the sketching part. That's very valid. And
Yeah, I have this theory that it's probably because when you go to ArtStation and other, like Instagram and stuff like that, you see only the final pieces, and it's always like super good, and you feel terrible because you're like, oh, like everyone's have these, beautiful pieces, and how can I post something not finished in a way? Whereas reality that like 90% of your work in the industry is actually solving the problem before you render the final piece. And if you want to get into that, you need to show basically your clients, your art director, that you can do that. And also by doing that, you will get to better results, because we can see from your portfolio that you can render and model stuff and etc. But if you can also design, create different options and solve different problems, that's valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one. Maybe we should go and check what is that, the live chat or something like that. Maybe there are some questions. I don't know.
Yeah, but we also have tons of portfolios.
Yeah, I know. Okay, maybe we can. Because as I said, like it felt to me that we won't be able to go through all of them, because it's like, okay, maybe we should speed up a little bit. That's your guy. So Callan Desmond. Portfolio. Let's see. So, what do you think?
Let's open. I like to open like one of the latest pieces, because that I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a story moment.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, I mean, right away I can say we need more story, because right now it's just a dude and some environment and some birds. So make a story out of it. Maybe there is like a airplane or something like that flying. It's at least something, now we know why he's looking at it, because right now he's looking at birds and it's like, well, what is the story? Is there anything special about birds or something like that? And I mean, we can definitely see that you can do that. You just didn't do that, if this piece was just a practice, then yeah, but then you don't want to include it in a professional portfolio, because like practice is a practice in a way. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say that overall, I'm going through all of your pieces, and I see the skills. I see, okay, there's rendering skills, compositional skills, lighting, but just like Max said, like in terms of story, I am not always 100% sure of what the story is, or what this piece was intended to solve. Remember that you're always trying to solve a problem if this is a portfolio for visual development. Like, what was the director wondering about his movie or her movie, or in the animation? Like, what are these pieces trying to do? Overall, I think honestly, you have the skills. You have the skills. It's I think now you need to push through design. So I see I see a lot of images with really cool compositions, but if I really pinpoint the silhouettes, I think that's where you can push it, and those silhouettes could help you inform what the story is a bit better for clarity.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of see a sense of story, like like this one. Like I love this one, by the way. I like the mood and stuff, and this one what I like is I see a bit more design. I can see that something is about to happen, and that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I want to see more of this, but like a bit more pushed. Like
Yeah. I think
it was
it happens sometimes. Again, I'm kind of like remember my own experience from the past, because sometimes when you like, especially when you are a student, you work on your technical skills and you forget about story and all that stuff, and then you achieve something and you feel like, oh, now I learned how to use this program, or how to I don't know, use a blending brush in Photoshop or something like that, and I finally was able to capture the mood and etc. And you want to show it, of course, and it's good. It's part of your learning, process. But at the same time, for the professional environment, it's not enough to have technical skills. You need to be able to solve actual design problems most of the time. And right now your portfolio is about technical skills, so we can see that you can do that you have technical skills. Basically, you can photobash, you can use 3D and blah blah, you know how to compose the image and etc. So now you have to use all those skills in order to create actual, in order to do design, to solve actual problem. So I think that's a thing.
So in the list, we have 15 portfolios left. How do we do this, Max? How are you guys doing there? I feel like, tell us, what do you guys think? Do you want to stick around? Should we do another session?
Well,
after?
I can tell you, I'm looking right now at the graph, and it kind of like, it's a curve. It went up and then it's slowly kind of going down, just like slowly. Not a lot, nothing like the market couple days ago, but it's it's slowly kind of going there. So I think we can still spend like half an hour. How do you feel about that? You're not tired?
Let's say a number of portfolios. If we have 15, we cannot do the 15 of them.
Well, yeah, let's randomly pick 5. And
let's do a random 5.
Yeah, and go through that.
Some from your list, some from mine. Then let's do 6. 3 from your list and 3 from mine.
Yeah,
and then like if we don't get to your portfolio, what do we do, Max?
Well, honestly, just if you will send me a link or something like that. I mean, not a link because you already sent it to me, but if you just DP me on ArtStation or something, I will just write you a feedback and etc. Or we can even, I don't know, maybe figure out something for next weekend or something like that, which is usually tough, but I think we can basically just write a feedback. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try. Let's try to go through 6 random 6.
Yeah. I also want to say something that I have from my experience, because I did couple mentorships and I've been teaching online for a couple years. Usually when I will go over like a lot of works like that or portfolio like that, after an hour or something we start to repeat, because there is a tendency in everyone's kind of like work to do the same kind of mistakes, not mistakes, but having the same issues. It's almost the same, like, honestly, like, I'm gonna be completely honest right now, which is probably I shouldn't do, but I will tell you that, like, just half a year ago, I called Farid and we've been talking about art, whatever, and I showed him like some of the pieces that I've been working on, and he gave me some feedback, and some of the stuff he told me was exactly the same that he was told in some of, that he was saying to some of the portfolios that we've been reviewing right now. So it's, you know what I mean, right? It's like, it's not like,
I totally understand.
yeah. So it's kind of like same thing. So probably that if we didn't, check your portfolio, but you still can, apply some of the feedback that we already said. Okay, so let's grab Nicholas from my part. I like stylization in this one, and let me see if I have any questions from you. No, not. I don't think so. Okay. Well. I can. So it's a thin line, I would say, because you push your concepts into stylization, which starts to look more like illustrations almost, but at the same time it's kind of like conceptual, because it looks to me like it could be used in games and maybe even in films or some animated future films. I can see that you use in 3D, which is good, and you got some prop design and etc. This one studies sketches, that's good. Yeah, and this one that what we've been talking about, right? When you see sketch like that and then you see the final piece, it's so much more informative, because now we see kind of like different options for the same character, and from that final piece we can see how it could be, how it could look like on a screen, either it's in game or in movie. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I love the props. I think the prop design is really awesome.
That's a tough one. I don't really.
You know what I feel? I think there's a wide range, but it's like a bit between studies, between multiple styles, and I think you would benefit from a portfolio piece that uses all your skills. Like you have all of these skills, and you're showing me like bits, and I want to see kind of like if you were to build a pipeline, if you were all like the entire pipeline, what would it look like? So I want to see maybe one story, the drawing part, the rendering part, I see like the environment part where you're building this world, and maybe stick to one story, one universe, the props for that universe, and then all the way to that final image of the keyframe, the highlight of the movie. And that way, I think I would feel like it's a more organized portfolio, easier to see how you would think inside of the studio.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
it's almost like, for example, this project, right? I really like the design of this flying drone, and right now it's just it doesn't exist in the world. It's just like by itself in vacuum. So what if you're gonna put the character in there, put a little bit of story, like there is a chase scene and they're like trying to run away, and how's it gonna look like, and you can render it, because we saw other pieces like this one, so it shouldn't be a big problem for you, but then it's gonna make a more finished kind of project. Yeah, the only downside that I can see right now is, which is not really a downside, but that you use kind of like the same stylization for most of your projects, which is probably basically your style, and it's hard to give a feedback when a person has its own style, because then whatever I'm gonna say is gonna influence your the way you draw, basically, or not. And we don't want to do that, because you have your style, and it's yours, and whatever we're gonna say is gonna be relevant in a way. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? It's like almost like if you go to Van Gogh and you tell him, hey, your perspective is not right. Well, because it's Van Gogh, and it's not about perspective, it's about his style of the way he sees the world. So from this point of view, it's like, well, just keep going in a way.
I would try to focus. I see all the styles. I see the artists that you are emulating. I see all your inspiration, basically. But it's try to help us focus it a bit more. That's what I would say for your portfolio. Again, you have the skills, which is very important. So you're already halfway there. Now it's like, help me understand why we need to hire you as opposed to someone else. By maybe specializing is the wrong word, but maybe by narrowing down the options for us people looking at your portfolio.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So if you want to take a look at the list, Max, there are some animation portfolios also that we haven't touched on.
Okay, like this one, Anna
Yeah,
Richard.
that one. I think there's Tammy Wang.
Yeah, let's do this one because it's randomly happens to be open.
Excellent.
Okay, that's beautiful.
Because I saw in one of the comments, everything we're showing is so dark and so like concept arty. I think we need to address some of the other portfolios too.
Yeah. Well, again, it's it's nice that we jump into this one because here we go again. Like, how do you comment on something like that? Well, honestly, I would say for us to give a proper feedback, we need to know the story, because everything about this piece presumably is supposed to be about the story, right? Including colors, shape, language, and etc. So we can only hope that you did a good job in trying to achieve it in a way. Some like I really like this one.
What is the name of those rabbits?
This one?
They have a name.
Maybe
someone else a name.
I don't know. It looks like wow.
They're lovely.
Yeah. Unicorn rabbits, I guess, something like that. Yeah. Well, yeah. Again, it's beautiful. I don't really know how to sell it because it could be like it could be a book illustration. It could be anything printed, or it could be even a print on on a T-shirt. Why not? And it also could be a concept for future animation.
I think a lot of the work that I see here seems very much like illustration, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Again, we're coming in from a point of view of visual development, but even just as illustration, I see a lot like that cover is so cool.
Yeah. I wonder if it's really for Vogue, because if it is, then we don't need to say anything.
Then we need to buy that Vogue magazine because I want it in my house.
Yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. Okay, I have one more. I think I have something to say. Let me think about it. Well, okay, here's the thing. Like, this piece is beautiful because of physicality. Like it feels almost like you used real materials, and it's also what is the right word to say? It's like authentic. It feels like like you there's something real about it, something
Yeah.
unique, like it's like you made one piece of that and you can put it on a wall and it's beautiful, and it's nice. I think you like other pieces have the same quality, but I would say, for example, this one for some reason doesn't have the same mood. For example, I don't understand the story. Even though in the previous one there was no story as well, but there was a mood and a character in that one. This one looks to me more like, I don't really know. Is it like a window and he's pointing at the window? Like, I don't understand the story. So maybe working more on a story will make it better. I don't know. Just like this one, like I see three dudes driving somewhere, but what is happening? Why is that piece important for me? Because like, are they good characters? Like in terms of like, are they good or bad? Like, are they evil or not? And right now, like, there is no kind of story behind it. It's a pretty image, but I would love to see more story.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, Anna, if you want to go into illustration, I think you're already halfway there. Like, you have a very unique style, the skills. I think if you were to push your story, as Max is suggesting, that would be great. And if you were to go into visual development, I would encourage you to follow the same advice that we've given a couple of times. Is like, explore the universe more completely. So for the rabbits that I really like, for example, then if that was visual development, I would say that's almost like a final piece. But I would like to see all the iterations. Like, how did you get to these designs? How do these rabbits hunt? Who hunts them? So in visual development, we want to see more of the universe. So you have a lot of single pieces, which to me suggests is more like illustration for editorial. If that's the case, great. If you want to go into visual development, give us more of those universes and give us more options. Options are super important in visual development. But it doesn't seem like you're going in that direction. It seems like it's illustration. And if that's the case, push your story and continue what you're doing, because it's beautiful.
Yeah. Because I don't know, again, like, because you asking personal feedback. So personally, I enjoy the story in the pieces, like when the illustration has a story, basically. Because again, like, for some reason, this piece, even though it doesn't have a clear story, but we can feel it. Like, she could be some kind of witch or something like that, and she's in the water, and there is like a mood in this piece, right? Whereas
it's beautiful, but it's dark. The contrast between there, it's a very bright image.
Yeah.
And then the subject seems a little bit dark. There's something, and the fact that it makes us wonder what is going on. It's big.
Yeah. And even though those rabbits are kind of the same, but it feels almost to me like, if this, imagine, like, for example, if we're talking about the same piece, but we're seeing a family. So it's like an older rabbit and maybe a couple smaller one down there, like, sleeping. And now we have the story. So two of those sleeping and they're small, and this one older, and he heard something, and now he's like, like, trying to check it out, what's going on. Like, maybe there is a predator or something like that, and how can you tweak this image to tell that story? Because right now it looks to me that there is no story, basically. I mean, that's the best I can explain what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, we're missing, I guess it's like about layers, right? You're missing that last layer of the story, that like one little detail that tells us, oh, something is about to happen, even if you don't give us the answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, it's beautiful. Like, the style is beautiful, pretty unique, and our feedback is just to push you kind of like on a next level in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so randomizer. This one, Vladimir Yershov. I think there was something that I wanted to say about this one. I think it's kind of like same feedback. So this one is gonna be quicker because this portfolio has a lot of technical kind of works, like this one, like a study. So clearly it's a study, right? Which is good. So maybe you can organize it into, because I know that on ArtStation you can create folders. So you can even create a folder that is like studies, and you put all the studies in one folder, and then more professional stuff into just like a regular kind of portfolio. And when we say professional, it doesn't mean that it's best work or something. It's more about, like, for example, again, this ways is all about how well you can render, a shape, like 3D object in the light, right? Whereas the professional work is how can you solve a problem, which is normally something about like how can you design something like a prop or a scene, or describe the story through the visually basically, and etc.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest thing in visual development, like the problem that you're solving.
Mm-hmm.
And I think having all of these studies that I'm looking at your portfolio, it's a little bit like, okay, you're solving your technical challenges and studying, and you're getting really good at it. But for us, we still don't know if you can solve the challenges of the everyday workday. So it seems to me like you're on your way there, like you're practicing to become really good. And I can tell, same thing, I can see the artists that you are emulating, the artists that you are following, and like that's good that you're using them as a stepping stone. And I think the next thing you need to do is find your voice. Like, why are we hiring you particularly? And I think that you're starting to explore that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, like this piece, for example, I'm looking at, and there's something interesting, and here we actually exploring. He's exploring design, and I can see it's pretty good. What I would say, that try to incorporate the skills that you have. For example, you can render beautifully black and white images like this one. It's beautiful. So now the question, how can you, for example, take this piece with this 3D object, and how can you add, for example, a background behind it, even though it's going to be painted? It's like, just try to use all your skills in order to solve that problem. So if your problem was to design this spaceship, use all the skills, not just like 3D skill, for example. And then you can see which one working, better or worse, and adjust for that. Because it looks like most of your studies are 2D, paintings. And then in this case, when you finally jump into designing, this one is in 3D. And I think you can benefit from using some of the 2D skill. Like this one, for example. That's like beautiful 3D rendering, but what if you're gonna add some background using your skills in paintings, And you can paint on top of this 3D model to make consistent piece, and that's it. You're gonna have like beautiful key scene with background and etc.
Yeah, I think you've already learned the skills. Just think of it like now. Take the time to develop your voice.
Look at that. Yeah, I don't know how you did it. Like, I don't have that skill, for example. So you're pretty good. It's nice. That's good. Beautiful. Okay, let's jump to this one. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's jump to the more animation kind of thing. You like it?
Yeah, it's cool. It's also refreshing.
Yeah. I like it. That's beautiful. Oh.
Got all those
Yeah, he's
corgis.
sleeping.
This is the kind of stuff that we've been talking about that I want to see more. Is like building universes.
Mm-hmm.
So you see like the final image, but you also see a little bit of exploration of,
Mm-hmm.
like for the corgi, it's like I understand this character now because I see it like when it's angry, when it's happy, when he's being annoyed by the
Mm-hmm.
owner, like by his parents. Like it's just, and I like that from a lot of your pieces, like Ren
Mm-hmm.
and Ryu, that family having dinner. It's a whole universe that's been explored, and
Mm-hmm.
that immediately makes me want to know more about the story, and
Mm-hmm.
that's very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
I
true.
love your gesture. The
Mm-hmm.
guy reading has a really nice gesture and
Yeah.
eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. He's working out definitely. Yeah. Is that the same guy? If that's the same, that's telling a story. Because, like, as I said, like, he's working out. So, like, here he's reading. It's like maybe he's like a student, but like normally he was like in a village,
Mhm.
working hard, etc. It's good. Yeah. It feels to me like I want to see more, honestly. Like, for example, same with this family and corgi. Like, I want to see more key moments, like this one when they are eating. But what if like that's a happy moment? But what if there is a sad moment? Like they've been driving in a car to some kind of vacation, and then the tire blow up, and they're like working on it, and father is tired, and I don't know, son is pissed off, and girl is having fun, playing around with a dog, something like that. So it gonna it they're gonna be. I just want to see more, honestly, because you have all those characters, and it's almost like, well, give me more. It's good. Like make
Yeah.
them alive, like how they react to certain situations and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
Yeah. I
Okay.
have an idea, Max.
Uh huh.
Let's do two more,
Yeah.
and we have another panel tomorrow, and
Yeah.
it's about building a portfolio. So maybe we can finish the list
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like let's do two more to finish, and then
Yeah.
we'll continue. Like we'll finish this list.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does that?
Yeah, I think we can try, because even though we have a lot to tell tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah, let's see how it go. Well, I don't know which one to pick.
Yeah, this one.
Let's do this one. Um, okay, so Dominica Cava. Interesting. Uh, Interesting exploration down there. It's pretty nice. Let's go through a little bit more. That's interesting. I like the unique style. I know it's Photoshop, but at the same time it looks almost like, maybe it's not even Photoshop. It just doesn't look like photo. It looks to me like those charcoal kind of like, uh, you know, real material in terms of rendering.
Yeah, same. Like
Yeah, I like this
it
one.
feels. Yeah,
This sketch is beautiful. Uh,
I
it's
know
almost
that.
like like you made a photo from one page, and I can see that there are some there are more sketches on another one, and I want to see more, because like I know that
Mhm.
there is something cool there, and yeah, you picked one, but show me more, because like there is stuff there.
It's the same story. People are shying away from the
Yeah, yeah.
line work, and like at the studio, we're always looking for a wide range of skills. Not just like from one person, but usually there we have someone who's good at environments and certain types of rendering, and quite often we hire people who do just pencil drawings, and we value them because of their pencil drawing
Mm-hmm.
ideas.
Yeah.
So you can develop ideas in pencil and get really good at it. You can also get hired
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Yeah.
So don't don't forget that that's also a skill to present as even as final sometimes.
Yeah, yes, true. Honestly, in terms of rendering, yeah, there is like a room to develop it, but you just have to keep working, and you're gonna get there. Like there's some material indications, things that you can adjust, but that's like minor. In terms of story, we already said so much about storytelling that I don't think we need to repeat. I think um, I think right now I'm kind of like I don't really know because of rendering style, it looks to me almost like an illustration. But at the same time, you have props, like for example like this one, which is definitely a prop that could be used for a game or something like that, but it's not designed, it's not pushed as far in terms of design as it could be. So I think you kind of like in the middle between illustration, where you put more emphasis on the way you render it, and design or concept art for games or whatever story it is for a movie or something like that. So I think the only thing I would say is that you have to figure out what is important for you. If you want to be more of an illustrator, then I guess you can focus more on how you render and tell the story and maybe work on your composition a little bit more. Like for example, this piece could be a beautiful finished illustration, but it's not pushed enough, right? So it's not really finished illustration. At the same time, you have some story moments, like you have some concept here for this creature, but again, it's not pushed enough to be a fully developed design, because there is an idea in there, but I don't really know what it is, so you kind of stuck in the middle. At least it feels to me that way, like this piece as well. I mean, yeah, it's beautiful illustration, but if that's an illustration, I think you can push it more in terms of just as an illustration in terms of rendering. If that's a design piece, then you need to design a house more, to make it more unique. That's my kind of feeling from that.
I would also say that I can tell that your skills have grown at the top of your portfolio. And the early ones make me question where you're at, because I can tell it's earlier. And if you're getting good, and this is for everyone, if you're getting really good, I am sure you can tell when your portfolio pieces are up to your current skill level. Clear the old ones. Honestly, they're gonna give you more harm than good. I'm gonna quickly tell you a story. When I first entered the industry, we were looking for other people to join the company, and my art director at the time was going like, "Oh, I love this thing. This is really cool." And then he went into the about page, and in the about page, he had another piece of work, and that wasn't good. And my art director didn't even call him to meet, because in his about page there was a bad image. So because to him he was like, "Oh, so he thinks that is good, and that is good as well." And I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot believe this is the case. You're not even gonna call him." And he's like, "No, I don't know what he's thinking to have this contrast." So I'm not saying that this is the case with you, Dominic, but just something to keep in mind, that your worst piece, you're gonna be judged by your worst type of work.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that happening, honestly. And I know that it is hard, because sometimes you have attachment to the older pieces, personally, because you spend some times on it, and you know how you did it, and you're like, but it's a nice piece, but unfortunately, yeah, it is true, because you want to be remembered by your very best that you have right now, and if you will include older pieces that are not really good just for the sake of number, like to have more pieces, that's not really a good reason, basically. And that's true.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that, by the way. Like it's like it's easy for me to say it because I'm inside, right? Uh, I'm in the studio and stuff, and I no longer pay attention to my portfolio. But I know I'm guilty of that as well. I totally agree with Max. Like you have this piece and you worked on it for so long and you love it, and but if you're applying, that's the time to clean up and really show.
Yeah,
Like,
it's almost, I would say, maybe if it's gonna help, try to, I mean, maybe you can make like two portfolios. One portfolio kind of like for everyone, and one specific for that you're gonna send to, to art directors, and that one have to be like super good, without any, issues or anything, like up to date and etc. Okay, last one, right?
Last one. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the last one, and we're so sorry that we are not doing all of them today.
Mm-hmm.
We received so many,
Yeah.
and we're doing our best to go as fast as possible. But we have another panel tomorrow, and I suggest that we finish some of the list.
It's gonna be tomorrow morning, Sunday. I think at 10 LA time. So yeah. Well, let's go through this one and let's call it done. Nice. Look at that. There is a story in this one, and it looks like nerves.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Wow, it's like memories or something like that. Interesting. And there is like whole storyboard for that. I like it. It's just too dark, honestly. Like, yeah, and yeah, it happens sometimes when it's dark, but and sometimes you have scenes that have to be dark. But I mean, even in this case, from the point of view of storyboarding, you can have, like, for example, a moment when one of those nerves or whatever it is flying is close to the camera, and that way half of the frame is lit by that light, and it's not just a black frame. Because right now you have like what 6 frames, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 frames, and all of them kind of in the same value grouping, like all of them 90% black, and you can play with that just as an experiment, because you've been experimenting in those 6 frames. Yeah, it's almost like when you go from the dark room into the room with one light source, like in the middle of the night when you turn on the light, it feels so much brighter. So you can play with that, for example, to make one shot much brighter than it is, like almost overexposed.
I really like the vampire lady as a character design.
Where?
It's in the middle.
In the middle.
To the right. Right.
Oh, vampire. Okay.
It's like it's an interest. It's different. I like that it's.
Yeah.
It's different. I can tell it's character design, but I would like to see more options. And remember, I think we're gonna repeat this forever. Like whenever you give us a character design, prop design, remember at the end of the day, it's gonna be someone else's call to see which one goes into production, either for the video game or for the movie. So we need to see that you're able to produce 3, 4 very different ideas in order to come up with one. So when we see this type of work, we can say, hey, it's cool, but if you had given this to me, I wish I had the other avenues to follow.
Yeah. It's also.
And you know what?
Go
for it.
Well, I was about to say for this piece, I think there is also space in terms of storytelling, and of course there is a lot to say to explain what I mean by storytelling, but we don't have time. But I will try to do basically, like right now, I don't really know at what time this character can exist. Like, is it a modern creature that can exist in a modern time? Is it a alien kind of creature from future, or is it from the past, like from medieval ages? You know, so how can you make it? How can you tell that story in this piece? Like maybe she has a necklace, right? Or maybe there is some kind of treatment that you use for the skin or something like that that tells me that it's kind of like futuristic, that has futuristic qualities, and you can feel that it is almost like a sci-fi alien, you know, in a way. So think deeper in terms of storytelling, even if it's just I mean, not even, but especially for the characters, because right now it's just, I mean, there are so much opportunity. And just to go back to Farid's comment, I would say that by doing those options, you eventually naturally will come up to more ideas. Because if you made one option and now you have to make another one, and you cannot repeat yourself, because otherwise it's just going to be a copy of the first one, right? So by making another option, you're going to push yourself, like in terms of, okay, so I need to make another version for this character. How is it going to be different? So maybe it's not just different color or different whatever design aspect, but in terms of story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
I would say in your case, you have a lot of, I can see that you use 3D a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You have the 3D skills. And I would say, if you're good at that, push it. Just like we said to the other guys, hey, you have the pencil skills, use that, embrace it, don't hide away from it. I can tell you're using a lot of 3D as a base, and some of your strongest pieces don't shy away from the 3D. So keep pushing. I would encourage you to keep pushing in that direction while you hone your. If you want to render in 2D, if you want to do painting, if you want to do on a more traditional route, great. While you get there to that level, keep using your 3D as much as possible. One thing that I haven't mentioned that is important to remind everyone is that at the studio, we don't care how you achieve these images.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's cool to share on Instagram and on ArtStation. Oh, here's my process. Like when you arrive, they don't care. Like my art director doesn't care how you arrive at the destination. You know, it's either 2D pencil. It's we wouldn't care if you bring your oils. Obviously, that's too slow. But that's just to.
I have a cool story. Right? I have a cool story.
Okay.
There was
so whatever your tool is for design, the one that you feel the most comfortable with, you are okay with it as long as you can meet the deadline. Keep that in mind.
Yeah. Here is a story. I don't know. I think I can share it, right? So I'm not gonna tell the name of the project or something, and I'm not gonna say what studio I was working on. But basically, at some point, I had to buy plasticine, you know, for kids, to use it for my concept art. Because I was like, well, I can try to make it in 3D and try to make it look like it's real plasticine or something like that. But and I even started doing that, and then I thought like, well, why am I doing that if I can buy real plasticine and I know how to sculpt, and I can, you know, sculpt it and use it. So definitely do not shy away from whatever you like to use. Like if you like pencil, use it, you know, be best in that technique, in that, you know, with those tools. And at the end, it's all about you, basically. And if you like something, that's part of you. And if you feel comfortable using those tools to achieve whatever you have to achieve, you will be hired. There's like, you know, like there is no question about that. So yeah, if you like 3D and you feel comfortable and you enjoy it, just push it all the way. That's true.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was awesome 2 hours and even more, like almost 2.5 hours. Yeah, it's crazy.
Uh,
Um,
Max, I think okay, beyond tomorrow, we can probably organize these sessions more often for people to
yeah, I think so.
join. Maybe organize them in a way where we announce the portfolios that we choose.
Uh-huh.
Because honestly, this time it's like we received so many, we were trying to get as much as possible. I know I told you guys, some of you like, hey, I'll be able to fit you in, and it just became so much. So I'm sorry that we didn't get to all of you,
Mm-hmm.
but we're gonna try to organize more of these even beyond Lightbox.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
try, well, maybe it can be a monthly thing or
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that.
honestly, yeah. Because it's so much fun and it opens, like personally I would say, like it opens my eyes, like because like when you seeing someone else's work and you're trying to figure out how to, you know, it's almost like you trying to you 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 think about it as it's your portfolio and how would you, you know, approach it in a way. And
Definitely.
it's a nice exercise, and I hope, and I mean, I guess both of us really hope that it's helpful for people who send us those portfolios and for people who was watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, we'll get better at it, guys.
yeah.
Get better with technology, and even like where we're asking for your portfolios, we should probably maybe have a list.
Yeah.
We'll develop on our side to make it easier for you to share your portfolios. Um, uh, this has been really good for us because, as Max mentioned, like a lot of this advice that we're giving you, we need to remind ourselves, right? Because we're
Mm-hmm.
always like inside of the studio and we have briefs and all of these things to help us narrow down.
Mm-hmm.
But with our personal work, we have a lot of the same struggles that you have.
Yeah.
And it's really important for us to do these exercises, not just to help you, but it's also helping us out a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very thankful that you put yourself here in front of all these people and share your work. I know that it's
Yeah.
like your baby. It's like you have these people criticizing it and like telling you like what's good, what's bad. So thank you for trusting us.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's. I don't know if you want to add anything,
No,
Max,
I
before we
mean,
take
yeah,
off.
yeah, I definitely agree. It's beautiful, and honestly, uh, it's not a lot of time. It's not about your current skill. It's about your mindset and how you approach things. And it doesn't matter like what skills you have right now, if you know 3D or not, or if you're just using pencil. And it's funny because like I'm saying just using pencil, whereas like for me honestly using pencil is the hardest thing, because like learning 3D is simple. You just don't, I mean, you just buy Gumroad, you watch it, and that's it. You know how to use like Blender or something, or you don't need to buy anything, you just go to YouTube. But pencil, like you really, because it's such a simple tool and it's connects you directly to a piece of paper. You just, your brain is there. So it's all about, finding this balance on doing what you like and manage your healthy kind of like lifestyle, I guess, while trying to approach your goal. And
Hmm.
yeah, and just be your best in every single respect, and it's
Yeah.
gonna reflect in your work.
Embrace what you love.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so good night, guys. It was pleasure to go over
Sometimes
it.
people are asking if they can still submit their portfolios. I would say that for tomorrow, it's going to be very hard to fit anyone
Yeah,
else.
for tomorrow it's gonna be too much, but um let's put it this way, we're gonna announce it, I think, within couple of weeks, because like if we're gonna do that once a month, then it's probably a good strategy to announce it like a week before or something like that, before we do that. And once we announce it, I'm probably gonna do the same, gonna post it on Instagram and Facebook, and or on even on ArtStation, just like I did this time. And then you can submit your portfolio. And also this channel. This YouTube channel is mine, and I was planning to do some more educational videos. So you can also, I guess, subscribe to the channel and get some updates from that. So it's basically subscribing to, Instagram or Facebook. I guess Instagram is much better, right? And get updates from that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get better, guys. We'll get
Yeah.
better at organizing things.
Yeah.
We're so happy that you worked with us.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
crazy that you stayed up so late or woke up so early, depending on where you're at. Thank you
That's
for
true.
hanging out with us so much.
Thank you a lot, guys, and see you next time. Yeah.
See ya.